San Antonio Spurs rookie Luka Samanic trusts G League process. Standing on a court with G League alums Dejounte Murray, Derrick White, Bryn Forbes and Lonnie Walker IV, rookie Luka Samanic said he understands playing in the NBA's developmental league is just a part of the process for a young Spur. You have to be patient and just trust what they say, and look at what everybody did before, Samanic said after Wednesday morning's shootaround. Lonnie, Dejounte and Derrick. So why not me, he added. Drafted 19th overall last June, Samanic was called up Tuesday by the Spurs after they ruled LaMarcus Aldridge out for the Dallas game with a shoulder injury. A 6'11" forward from Croatia, Samanic is averaging 15.3 points, 7.8 rebounds and 1.3 assists in 28.4 minutes over 32 games with the Austin Spurs. He is shooting 44% from the field and 32% from three-point range. At the beginning, it was hard, Samanic, who turned 20 on January 9, said of playing in the G League. And then, I think, since January things got better. I am focused on being consistent every night. In the G League, Samanic is learning to adapt to a more physical game than the one he played last season for Olimpija Ljubljana in the Slovenian league, where he averaged 8.1 points and 4.8 rebounds on 48% shooting, 37% from the three-point line. The G League is a similar game to the NBA, Samanic said. Now it's about just being able to translate the European game to the American game. White likes what he has seen from Samanic. I watched him a couple of times down in the G League, White said. He is getting better each time he is out there, getting more comfortable, finding his way. It is tough coming here from a different country. I like what he has. He has got a lot of different ways that he can score. He has just got to find his way. The Spurs list Samanic as carrying 230 pounds on his 6'11" frame, but he says he now weighs about 235, 236, 237, thanks to a combination of weightlifting and diet. He said it helps that his mother has been in town, cooking his favorite dishes. He looks a little bigger, White said. More confident. This off-season will be big for him. Popovich recalls. Parting with Boban. With Boban Marjanovic in town with the Mavericks, Spurs coach Greg Popovich recalled how difficult it was for the Spurs to persuade the amiable 7'4" Serbian to leave San Antonio in summer 2016 to sign with Detroit in free agency. After averaging 5.5 points on 60% shooting and 3.6 rebounds in 54 games during the 2015-16 season, Marjanovic received a 3-year, $21 million offer sheet from Detroit. We brought him over here, so he felt that loyalty and everything, to the Spurs, Popovich said. But we had to explain to him that loyalty only goes so far, and that you got to take care of your family. The offer he was getting was something we couldn't match, and I would have felt forever guilty if I would have convinced him to stay and give up all that money. In the end, I just had to say, no, you are going to go. You have a family and you have to do it. And he begrudgingly went. He is intelligent. He is not a dumb guy. This guy is smart as hell. But his agent had to talk to him, and I had to talk to him. He got it pretty quickly and understood it was the logical move for him. We told him we will always be here for you, anything you need, and the Mavs feel the same way about him. Marjanovic entered Wednesday's game averaging 5.7 points on 54.7% shooting and 3.9 rebounds in 30 games. He is one of the all-time great guys, Popovich said. Caring, loving, enjoyable, upbeat guy. And he is a better player than everybody thinks. You couldn't ask for a better professional, better teammate. Bryant Memorial. Display of courage. Popovich was asked if one eulogy or performance touched him the most at Kobe Bryant's public memorial Monday. It was an amazing display of courage, especially by his wife, and there were a lot of incisive, touching, emotional moments in the ceremony, he said. But I choose not to get into that. Popovich attended the tribute in Los Angeles with Spurs Chief Executive Officer R.C. Bufford, assistant coach Tim Duncan, former Spurs stars Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, and current players DeMar DeRozan and Rudy Gay. Justice Moralitha's midnight transfer sad and shameful. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra has described as sad and shameful the transfer of a Delhi High Court judge who grilled authorities on Wednesday over the deadly violence in the Capital Territory. A notification on Justice S. Moralitha's transfer to the Punjab and Haryana High Court, a move recently recommended by the Supreme Court Collegium, was issued last night. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, a senior Congress leader, said the transfer represented the government's attempts to shake public trust in the judiciary. Millions of Indians have faith in a resilient and upright judiciary. The government's attempts to muzzle justice and break their faith are deplorable, she tweeted. Meanwhile, her brother and Congress colleague Rahul Gandhi raked up the death of Judge B.H. Loya, who died in December 2014 while hearing the Sohrabuddin Sheikh fake encounter case, in which Home Minister Amit Shah was an accused but later acquitted of all charges. Loya's death came under the spotlight in November 2017 after a magazine quoted his sister, who suspected foul play. In April 2018, the Supreme Court dismissed petitions seeking an independent probe into Judge Loya's demise. A bench headed by Justice S. Moralitha expressed anguish on Wednesday over the Delhi police's failure to register FIRs against alleged hate speeches made by 3 BJP leaders. The death toll from the horrific violence that has rocked Delhi for days rose to 28 on Thursday morning, with many more injured. David Warner returns to scene of scandal to set up Australia win. David Warner returned to the scene of the scandal and played a central role in a victory this time as Australia beat South Africa by 97 runs in the final 2020 to clinch the series 2-1 on Wednesday. The last time Warner was at Newlands, he instigated one of the biggest embarrassments in Australian cricket history with a ball tampering plot in a test against South Africa in March 2018. Warner's contribution in this game was to top score for the Aussies with 57 of 37 balls to set up a total of 193-5. South Africa didn't come close. Mitchell Starc blasted out captain Quinton de Kock, 5, and former skipper Faf du Plessis, 5, in the first and third overs of the chase. The quick bowler finished it with Kagiso Rabada's wicket and South Africa was all out for 96 in 15.3 overs for a formidable victory for the Australians. In between Stark's early and late strikes, spinners Ashton Agar, 3-16, and Adam Zampa, 2-10, knocked the stuffing out of the South African lineup. Agar, who has already taken a hat-trick in this series, nearly had another when he had Anrich North JLBW and bowled Lungi Angadi next ball. Earlier, Warner and captain Aaron Finch, who hit 55 of 37, put on 120 in their opening stand after South Africa put them into bat. Australia was ahead from then on. The series win is a promising start to Australia's build-up to the 2020 World Cup in October and November, which will be held in Australia. South Africa has had a tough season. It lost Test and T20 series at home to England earlier this year and drew the one-day series. With just a 3-match ODI series against Australia left, the Proteas are in danger of going through a home summer without a series win in any format. For Australia, the victory may not completely erase memories of the ball tampering scandal, but it might soften them for the team and for Warner and former captain Steve Smith, another man involved in the tampering plot 2 years ago and who also made his return to Newlands on Wednesday. Smith made 30 not out in a valuable contribution at the end of the Australian innings. He hit 2 sixes and 20 runs off the last over. The sixes disappeared over long on and then an extraordinary lofted drive over extra cover. Warner and Smith were both banned for a year by Cricket Australia for their roles in the cheating in 2018 and Smith was stripped of the captaincy. They have been back in international cricket for nearly a year now, but the return to Cape Town felt like the final step on the road to redemption. Protest in Amravati enters 71st day as Andhra Pradesh government fails to clear capital's status. Amravati capital region villages remain tense on Wednesday as the protests against the government's proposal to shift the Secretariat and the High Court to Vishakhapatnam and Kurnool, respectively, continued for the 71st day. Farmers of the city took part in relay hunger strikes and raised slogans against the state government, whereas the Women Jack also staged a protest by taking part in the 24-hour hunger strike and demanded that the chief minister should take back the orders of shifting secretariat and the High Court. The protesters also expressed their anguish on the union government for not intervening in the issue and failing to take action on the alleged police brutality on Amravati farmers that occurred a couple of days ago. The protesting villagers said, "We wonder why the BJP government is silent over the issue when thousands of farmers have been carrying out protests in the villages against the state government for the past 71 days. The protest began during the assembly session in the state as there was the absence of clear communication regarding the status of capital development from the YSRCP government. IF. Air India evacuate 236 from coronavirus hit Wuhan, quarantined Japanese cruise ship. The Indian Air Force, IF, on Thursday evacuated 112 people, including 36 foreign nationals from China's Wuhan, where the deadly novel coronavirus outbreak has killed over 2,700 people in the country. IF's C-17 Globemaster landed in Delhi at 6:45 a.m. on Thursday from China. All evacuees were taken to the ITBP quarantine facility in Chawla, Delhi after their thermal screening. The flight took off from India and carried around 15 tons of medical supplies to aid China in its fight against the outbreak. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar thanked China for its cooperation in the evacuation. On its return from Wuhan, Indian Air Force flight has brought back 76 Indians and 36 nationals from 7 countries: Bangladesh, Myanmar, Maldives, China, South Africa, USA and Madagascar. Appreciate facilitation by Chinese government, he said. Consignment, 15 tons, of Indian medical relief for COVID-19 lands in Wuhan. Strong expression of our solidarity with the Chinese people at this difficult time. Thank you Indian Air Force and Embassy of India in Beijing, China for your efforts, the minister said in another tweet. This is the third evacuation by India from the worst affected region on Wuhan in China. Earlier, 2 Air India flights brought back over 650 people. Meanwhile, Air India also evacuated 119 Indians and 5 foreign nationals who were on board the coronavirus-affected cruise ship Diamond Princess docked at the Yokohama port near Tokyo, Japan. The Indians on board the cruise ship, who were tested negative for the infection, were repatriated on Thursday. In a tweet, the Indian embassy in Japan said that those fulfilling conditions and consenting to repatriation to India on 26 February being facilitated by the Indian government. Jaishankar took to Twitter to inform about the development. Air India flight has just landed in Delhi from Tokyo, carrying 119 Indians and 5 nationals from Sri Lanka, Nepal, South Africa and Peru who were quarantined on board the Diamond Princess due to COVID-19. Appreciate the facilitation of Japanese authorities. Thank you Air India once again, he tweeted, adding that, a special word of appreciation for our team Embassy of India in Japan for their sustained efforts which made this happen.